All right, my LOE mathematicians, I will be guiding you through your step-by-step subtracting fractions with regrouping. The point of the homework is to get our steps down and to actually see each process and why we're doing it. You will have a daily grade on this when you come into class. Everyone should not do number one of last night homework or number 3. Do the problem, do another problem from what you did in class. So again, do not do number 1, do not do number 3 because number 3 did not have regrouping, and only do the problem that you did not do in class. And these problems are coming from last night homework, and that's homework from 2/19. And if people need to see it, if you lost it, these are the homework problems from the night before. So do not do number 1 or number 3. Do either 2 or 4. If you did 2 in class, you would do 4. If you did 4 in class, you would do 2. Now, here we go. We will write the first step. So when you're paraphrasing, or when you're learning these steps, make sure you put the important information in it. So, step 1. You will rewrite the problem vertically. So my algorithm needs to match my step. So I'm rewriting my problem vertically. So that's 4 1/3. Subtract 1 5/9. That's all you do for step 1. Moving to step 2. So I'll write step 2. Find the LCM. And we know the LCM represents the least common multiple. A good habit to do during this homework is to repeat the steps out loud as you do them. So I'm going to repeat 1 and add it to 2. So the first step, you write the problem vertically. So I write 4 1/3, subtract 1 5/9. Then I do step 2, which is find the LCM. So I find my LCM, and I'm asking everybody to do the LCM like this because we want to make sure that we stay with our fluency. We must practice fluency every day, and this is an easier way of getting it in. So we do 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 3 is 6, and 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times 9 is 9. You only go as far as what you need. So I will circle my LCM as 9, and I write 9. That is all I do for that step. Again, my steps matches, my rules matches my algorithm. Next, we go to step 3. All right, step 3. Make the LCM the new denominator. Okay? When you paraphrase, make sure you know why we do the LCM. Just don't say make the LCM the new denominator. Say all of that, plus also add this. If you have any whole numbers bring the whole numbers over. Okay, this is very important. So I will build on this step. Start with step 1. What is it? Yes, you stack your numbers vertically. You put your fractions vertically. Step 2, find that LCM. Don't skip any steps. Make sure you're going through the steps because you are building sometimes when you do stuff, muscle memory, we're trying to build that brain to keep in our long-term memory. So it becomes natural for us. So 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9. You have 1 times 9 is 9. Circle that LCM. And step 2 said that we had to use step 2, you had to write your LCM. Step 3, you have to use your LCM as your new denominator. Okay? So again, let's recap. Step 1, write it vertically. Step 2, LCMs. Step 3, use your LCM as your new denominator. But bring those whole numbers over because this equal signs, that means it's the same. If you do not bring it over, if you do not bring the whole number over, it will not be the same. So we use our new denominator. And that's all we do from there because that's what all our rule says to do. All right? So now we go to step 4. So all right. Step 4. Do the backwards Z or backwards C. Now when you write this rule, if you do the backwards Z, just write do the backwards Z. If you do the backwards C, just write do the backwards C. I'm writing both so that makes sure that I can cover all students. Okay? So again, you start from the beginning. What's the first rule? It is to stack your fractions vertically. Step 2, find that LCM of 3 and 9. Straighten this up for you guys. Build this fluency. 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9. You will start getting real fast with these. Okay? Circle that LCM. LCM is 9. What do you do with that LCM? Yes, step 3. You make that LCM your new denominator. But if you have whole numbers, bring those whole numbers over because this equal sign means same. If you don't bring the whole numbers over, it will not be the same. So 4. Next, step 4. Do the backwards Z or the backwards C. I'm going to do both for our mathematicians out there. So I say 3 goes into 9. How many times? You can look over here is 3. 3 times 1 is 3. Backwards C is saying 9 divided by 9 is 1. 1 times 5 is 5. That's all what my step says for that one. And we move to the next step, which is step 5. So I write step 5. We're almost home. So step 5 says subtract by regrouping from the whole number. Something to remember. This is very important. It's one part of our essential questions. Remember that the denominator tells how many and I'm going to put these in all caps, pieces, and we either have pieces or parts in fractions. You either word pieces or parts are added to the numerator. So now, say those rules in your head as you put it on your paper so that you can maintain and you know these rules when I ask them. So, first rule, yes, step 1, line them vertically. We got this. Step 2, find the LCM. And you know why we find the LCM? Because we have unlike denominators. Do this for fluency. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. And 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times 9 is 9. Circle your LCM least, which is 9. Okay? Now, after you do, that's step 1, step 2, step 3 is to make your LCM your new denominator. But if you have whole numbers, bring those whole numbers over. So bring your whole numbers over and bring those whole numbers over and use your LCM as your new denominator. Step 4, that's right, backwards Z or backwards C. I would do both. 3 goes into 9 3 times. 3 times 1 is 3. 9 divided by 1 is 1. 1 times 5 is 5. And then now we're on step 5. We subtract by regrouping from the whole number. Remember, the denominator tells how many pieces are added to the numerator. Now let me make this clear. Always check if this numerator is smaller than this numerator, you will regroup if it's subtraction. If the numerator is bigger than this numerator, you don't have to regroup. But in this case, I must regroup. We regroup by taking not one, but one whole. And one whole, in this case, because of our denominator, is 9 over 9. So that means I took one whole and I added 9 pieces to this. And 3 plus 9 is 12. Okay? Step 6. We're almost there. Step 6. Rewrite the new fraction and subtract. So, go all back to step 1. We got this. What's the first step? Yep, you said it. Line them up vertically. Okay, scoot this over. Step 2, find that LCM. And we're finding that LCM because we have unlike denominators. So we use 3 and 9. We're doing this way because we want to maintain our fluency. 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 3 is 6, and 3 times 3 is 9. And it also keeps us from making mistakes too. So 1 times 9 is 9. Circle that LCM. Put it as your new LCM, as your LCM. So that's step 1 and 2. So step 3 is to make your LCM your new denominator. But if you have those whole numbers, bring those whole numbers over. So I bring my whole numbers over and make my LCM my new denominator. Then step 4, do the backwards Z or the backwards C. So I'm going to do both. 3 goes into 9. 3 times 1 is 3. 9 divided by 9 is 1. 1 times 5 is 5. Now, step 5. You must regroup from your whole number because I cannot take 5 from 3. I don't have enough. So I take one whole, not one, but one whole. And one whole in this case is 9 over 9. And I'm going to add 9 pieces to my numerator. 3 plus 9 equals 12. Now, step 6. Rewrite your new fraction. So I'm writing this right here. Do not forget this. Please do not forget that you regroup so you have your new whole number, your new numerator, and your new denominator. If you have to circle it just to remember that, that will help you to eliminate mistakes. So I have 3. My numerator is 12. My denominator is 9. Then I'm going to bring over my next fraction, 1, 5, and 9. And I will now subtract. Now I have enough to subtract. So now 12 subtract 5 is 7. 9 is my denominator. And 3 subtract 1 is 2. Now, step 7. My favorite number, 7 is the number of completion. So we're on our last step. So step 7. Here we go. So step 7. You said it. We're going to simplify. So we'll simplify by finding the GCF. Remember, to make sure your difference, and that's a vocabulary word. Difference means the answer of a subtraction problem. Difference is a proper fraction. Before simplifying. Okay? Now, let me make this clear. You can simplify improper fractions, but let's make it a little bit easier on us to simplify proper fractions, okay? So now, let's start all over. What's that first step? Yep. Line it up vertically. Second step, find that LCM. We're doing this for fluency. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times 9 is 9. Circle my LCM, which is 9. LCM is 9. What do you do with that LCM? Yes, you make it as your new denominator. But you have whole numbers. Bring them over, or this sign equal will not be true. So bring the whole numbers over. Put 9 as your denominator. So you have step 1, vertical, LCM. Step 2, step 3, use your LCM as your new denominator. Step 4, you must do either the backward Z or backward C, whatever your strategy is to get your new numerator. So I'm going to do both. 3 goes into 9 3 times. 3 times 1 is 3. 9 goes in 9. Uh-oh, let me do the C here. My bad. Here we go. This is the backward C. 9 goes into 9 one time. 1 times 5 is 5. Now, we do step 5. When we subtract, we need to check. I must regroup because I cannot take 5 from 3. This 3 is too small, so I have to regroup. Where do I regroup from? The whole number. Do I take 1? No, I take 1 whole. 1 whole is a big difference. 1 whole is dealing with pieces. The number 1 deals with value. Okay, so I take 1 whole. How many is in that 1 whole? 9 out of 9. 9 pieces because our denominator. So I change this to a 3. And I add 9 pieces because of my denominator. 9 plus 3 is 12. Okay. Now, I did step 1 again. This is step 2. Step 3, add your new denominator. Step 4, do the Z method. Step 5, regroup. Step 6, write your new fraction. So I'm taking these parts again. I'm taking these parts. I'm taking my new 3, excuse me, 12 and 9. These are my new parts. So I'm saying 3, 12, 9. You have 1, 5, and 9. Okay. So I have 3 and 12 ninths and 1 and 5 ninths. Now I'm able to subtract because I have enough to take 5 from. So I take 12 subtract 5 is 7. Now your 9, your denominator does not change because they're saying 3 subtract 1 is 2. And in step 7, we must find a GCF. Please practice simplifying because you need to make sure fractions are in the lowest terms sometimes, because if they ask you to put in lowest terms, you need to know how to do it. So this is 2 and 7 ninths. I take my fraction 7. Scoot this up, 7 and 9. And I find factors. That means my number should not be bigger than 7. My number should not be bigger than 9. So I have 1 and 7. I know this is correct because 7 is a prime number. You have 1 and 9. 2 is not 1, but 3 and 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times 9 is 9. Also, write them down so you can organize your work so you can see and write them in order. So I'm writing from least to greatest. So 1, 3, and 9. Do not repeat the factors, okay? Now I look and see what is my GCF. I'm looking what they have in common. They have 1 in common, okay? So my GCF is 1. What do you do with that 1? You divide it and make it 1 whole, because when you're simplifying, you're only making a fraction equivalent. So that means it's going to look different, but still have the same value. So I take my whole number over 2. 7 divided by 1 is 7. And 9 divided by 1 is 9. So in this case, my fraction didn't change. My pieces didn't change. So that means if my GCF was 1, it was already simplified. So let's review. This is how your paper should look, especially when we do our daily grade tomorrow. You will have a problem, you will write the rule, and you'll break each algorithm down you'll break each rule according to its algorithm. So give you a chance to look at it. That's step 5. Step 6. And step 7. You have all this information in your step-by-step book plus the paper we did in class. Be ready, and I know that you're going to do great on your daily grade. See you guys tomorrow.